Hello, and welcome to the Storied City. I am the Scarred Adventurer, the great and powerful narrator of this game. Our game is City of Mist by Son of Oak Game Studio. Our VTT is Roll20. Our background art is from Pixabay and a smidge of Microsoft Paint, and our art is from Hero Forge. The Storied City, our City of Mist campaign, is a darker sort of show than we may usually run. We will be dealing with issues that you may find potentially upsetting. This is a world with crime that can range from graffiti to crimes like human trafficking. As with all shows on Dirty 20 Gaming, there is no sexual violence. This is not to say that none exists in this world, just that it is not played out or given any real focus. My players, my producer, and myself all have access to an X card. This means that at any time, should something be too much, we play it and retcon the situation. You as the audience do not have this superpower. This is why I'm telling you now. This is not a show for children, the faint-hearted, or those uncomfortable with darker themes. Please be aware that I'm not trying to get you to avoid this show. What I want for you is to feel safe. There's no shame in choosing to watch or listen to something else. With having gotten that out of the way, I hope you enjoy the stories we're going to bring you. Be good to each other, be good to yourself, and enjoy the show. Hello. Now that we are completely live, I'd like to get my wonderful players to introduce themselves here in Kylandria. For those of you who are currently looking at the title, it is funnier to us than it may be to you, but you know, who cares? So, let's start with Siosa. Please tell us, what do you do outside of this?
Hi, I'm Siosa, a writer and storyteller. I'm allergic to social media, so if you're looking for me, find me here on Dirty 20 or on the Discord.
Excellent. All right, next we go to... It's you again. Still you. How do I keep rolling fours? Rory, please tell us, what do you do outside of this?
Hello, I'm Rory. My main project is I make music under the stage name Raker or DJ Raker. Much like Siosa, I've recently become extremely allergic to social media, but I'll drop a SoundCloud link in the chat, I suppose. That's where most of the work in progress stuff gets uploaded. I haven't been uploading to proper streaming services as much, mostly because I hate them. But, you know, that's a artist drama thing. And other than that, I hang out here. And you can probably hear Pike in the background. Yeah, Pike really wants to come in, but she's not allowed in here because of all the cables. Anyways, I can bring her to say hi. That's me.
All right, because I was going to roll for it, but now because of that comment, Ruth, please tell us what you're up to outside of this.
Literally nothing. You can't find me, except for sometimes on the Discord and here Tuesdays as Exit. Wednesdays eventually is Maeve. Thursdays as Desiree. I have to focus. Yeah. And then Sundays, today, as Reed. And that's all.
All right. Next, we are going to go to Janet. Please tell us, what do you do outside of this?
Hi, I'm mainly YouTuber, where I streaming games and reaction to game showcases. But over that, I like reading, and lately I'm learning how to programming games. And that's all.
All right. Thank you so much. Next, we are going to go to our wonderful Sarah Sands.
Hi. Sorry, my sister came in to talk to me. So hi there. My name is Sarah. I am working with the Scarred Adventurer on stuff that is coming and stuff I can talk about, including Dawson Riddle, which link I'm actually putting up now, including and my YouTube channel, Tango Productions. I am here technically 5 times a week, y'all. I am here a lot. I'm here on the Tuesday game, our Carnage Heights game, as Magic. When Wednesday comes back, I am here as Crimson Rave, and I think my character, his name's Static or Eric or something like that. On Thursday, I DM the Fool's Gold campaign. That's why this name is so funny to me. And on Saturday, Thirsty Seas, I play.
Someone just read chat.
I play Allison Shay or Captain Al, Big Al. That's the character I play. I just realized my name is a spoiler.
Well, don't worry, we've already forgotten.
Good.
Except for the internet remembers.
Yeah, too much. And yeah.
I'm Streamcast Anime Gems. I forget to say.
Sorry, my brain stopped for a second. Sorry, thank you so much. Before we begin, a very important shout out to our magnificent producer, Hellhounds. This is impossible without you. One last shout out to you, the viewer. Yes, you. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm the Scarred Adventurer. This is the Storied City. We are here on Dirty 20 Gaming, and we are going to jump right into the session. Viva las Brumas! Welcome to the City of Stories. In our city, everyone has a story. Everyone has a past. Everyone has secrets. What are yours? Who are you? Really? Who are you? Are you made of the mundanities that make up our lives? Are you an unwitting pawn in some game too grand for you to begin to fathom? Are you made of aspirations for greater things, or are you just a leaf adrift on the winds of fate? Ask yourself, who am I? Well, who's to say? Each of you find yourself in the old quarter of Las Brumas, the theater district to be more specific. In fact, you're going over a small bridge for cars and people, an overpass that allows easier thoroughfare over top of the rich history below. The city seems to do that well, adding new without harming the old. That's not what you're thinking about, though. No. Right now, you are just lost in thought. Lost in a lot of things. As if sleepwalking through your own life. What brings you here? Or better yet, why here? And why now? What trail did you blaze on your way to this very spot? Right here, right now. You better answer soon, for we are just moments away from an event that will change the very nature of who you are. So, who would like to introduce themselves first? Tell us a bit about your character and the life leading up to this, and your life leading to this upcoming event that you don't know about.
I'm Nicole Smith, detective, who have powers to hypnotize, but overnight I'm hardworking detective who work at night and is workaholic.
All right.
And
So, what have you done today that brought you to this bridge right now? Like, why are you in the theater district? Like, are you here on patrol? Are you?
yeah, I'm on trial because boss ordered me to go here because something weird happening lately.
Okay. All right. So, oh, and did you say your character's name, or?
Nicole Smith, yeah.
Thank you. I just couldn't quite remember. All right. Now I'm going to throw it over to David. Tell us. What you up to?
So David he's traveling with another person that the pair of them are clearly vagrants. They're both, homeless and have been for some time. They're also both like huffing and out of breath because they just decided that this bridge was like the good place to stop running from the lone security guard at the Arboretum who was chasing them out. They had been there cutting flowers and herbs. His friend is Spoon and is a great distraction. All you have to do is like mention Atlantis and he'll start talking for 20, 30 minutes in a row. And so David had sort of like revved him up and pointed him at the guard and used the distraction to like get away with as many herbs and plants as he could. They got caught midway through. They went for a run and now they're all kind of now that both of them are just sort of like leaning against the rail, catching their breath. Um, David has definitely had better times. He probably looks 10 years older than he is. He's ragged. His clothes are literally falling apart. He has bright blue eyes, and everything else is like a shade of gray or brown.
All right. So, unless someone comes forward, I'm just going to pick at random. I hope you know this.
Jack is probably about what time of day is it? What are we thinking here?
It's about evening,
Okay.
later into the day. The sun's gone down.
Okay.
Moon isn't that high yet.
He's probably on his way back to the college dorms after a shift at the local gym, teaching a couple boxing lessons. He's got his headphones on. He's kind of walking back with his big bag of like school stuff and gear.
All right. Now, with that having been revealed, Pandora.
So Pan or Pandora probably came over here with Vic earlier in the day after she did her shift effectively. I say shift. It's more like a back room she rents to give readings out of. And basically she'll just, it's wherever someone will hire her to do it at. But she's hanging out with Vic, deciding to take a stroll, looking for another place. And if there's any very attractive people in the way, she is not afraid to make her needs known and see if she can pick up a guy for the night or a girl or whoever it is who's interested at the point. She does not care.
Well, so far, your options are cop, homeless man, or attractive college student. So, you know.
I mean, attractive college student isn't that bad, but they probably have a dorm. So, Pandora is, she wears about knee-high boots that are laced up all the way. They are stilettos at least 2 inches. Her hair is growing out, so the black is growing in, but the pink and white is definitely still there. Her outfit, although she does have long sleeves on, there's a window for ladies to be shown. And she's also wearing a corset that is a crop top with heterochromia eyes of 1 green, 1 blue.
All right. Now, Reeve, tell us a bit about yourself. Like, what's brought you here?
To this area of town?
Sure.
Well, having finished her couple of tattoo sessions, man, having finished her couple of tattoos, oh my god.
Really excited to have Sean Connery today.
English is a hard language, guys.
Still easier than Polish or Chinese.
Actually, Mandarin's not that bad.
Japanese alphabet has 52 letters. Anyways.
Having finished her few tattoo appointments for the day, she's walking around and looking for something to do because she's not quite interested in going back to her apartment just yet. And the theater district seems to be the perfect place. She has knee-high platform combat boots. Wearing black high-waisted skinny jeans and like a green corset top. Her eyes are like a pale gray, and she has me vaguely forgetting what my characters look like. Her hair is about chest length, and it is split dyed, half black, half silver, and has multiple tattoos.
All right. Well, crickety crack. With all that having been set up, you find yourselves all on the bridge right now. And unbeknownst to our audience, but known to us, is that all our characters know each other, at least a little bit, to a degree of knowing each other. However, back to the bridge right now, right when disaster strikes. All of you are hit by something, blindsided and confused. You look up and finally see the others. And when did they get here? How long have they been here? What the fuck is that? You ask that last question as a creature made of stone and moss drags behind it an enormous club made up of street signs and pavement. It's coming towards you. The way you've just been hit just now, you should be dead, and if not dead, in terrible pain. The thing is, you don't feel hurt. No matter how bad you should be, no matter what your specific situation of hurt is, it's not. In fact, it's not that you aren't. It's not just that you aren't hurt. If anything, you feel awake. You feel alert. You feel strong. But there's no time to think why this is, though. Because the lumbering behemoth is making his way towards you all. As I said, there is no time to think, no time to plan, no time for questions. There is only time for action. What do you do with this figure barreling towards you all?
How big is his shadow?
I think that's also a question of how big is he.
Yeah.
Considering it's mostly night and it's street lamps going around, his shadow is fairly large. It's not much larger than he is, but he's about 8-10 feet tall. And he's built like a brick shithouse.
I would.
Anyone want to
shoot
get out a
him.
footpath?
I would shoot him as police or as detective because I have gun, and it would be instinct.
Okay, so the plan is for some of you to run and one of you to suddenly oh no, is this a hit it with all you've got or face danger? Let's go toe to toe. So with that, you have your gun, so you're firing at this figure.
Yeah. Because I feel it's not human, so it would be my instinct to shoot what is this, whatever, to protect people.
Yes. So we're gonna roll you a go toe to toe.
Yeah.
So with that roll toe to toe, you miss. And with that, unfortunately, you get barreled into. Not only do you miss in such a way that you're suddenly smashed against the side pillars of the siding of this bridge. Miraculously, no one else except you five seem to be here. Well, 6 if you include whatever the fuck this thing is.
I'm hungry.
What about the other two
And
that were with us? Spoon was with me, and
Vic was
who
with
was
me.
Vic was with Pandora. Are they still present, or do they appear to have like been knocked off the bridge? Or
That is something you aren't actually too sure about. It's misty, and it's almost a question of whether or not they were here at all. But you knew they were here, but something keeps telling you, like, in the back of your heads, were they?
Ideally, um,
I am letting, sir, I am going to quickly say that you have taken, unfortunately, a tier 2 damage of bruised for being barreled into Nicole.
may I use my action to soak that on her behalf?
Are you going to do that?
If that's acceptable, that's what I think David's instinct is still one of protection. And so even while he's kind of grappling with strange feelings and what the hell is that when somebody goes down, he's moving to cover them. I think he's one part still thinking like a doctor, like make sure they're okay, but without thinking, he's putting himself in the way. And
Okay, I'd like you to give me a face danger. And if you have any powers or power tags you can use to.
I have 2 or 3 depending. Dragon's Might, Unbreakable, and Draconic Strength.
I'll give you those. However, I'm going to give you a weakness of big in spirit.
It
As
pushed
not
me. I'm
only-
happy to push it back.
All right. So once you've clicked those things,
Okay.
please roll me that. I believe it's face danger.
Yep. Mid success.
Yes. So now you take a tier 1 of scratched. The way this works for our lovely audience is that whenever our characters take damage, characters take damage or deal damage, they take statuses or statuses. Sometimes in other games, kind of like conditions. Now, each status has a tier system. One being not very bad. The other to all the way to 6, which is dead. I'm just going to let that sit there for a moment. Once you have 5 tiers, you're taken out of the fight. And however, if you attack with a tier 1 skill once, you get 1 tier. But if you get hit with a tier 1 skill again, then it's going to go up to 2. It doesn't go like this for each one. So if you keep hitting with the 1 tier, you have to get at least as many success tiers as it would take to get to your first tier, to whatever next tier you want to get to. For instance, if you want to get to a tier 3, you have to deal 2 tiers worth of damage as opposed to just 1 tier worth of damage. It's a bit of a... It's an interesting system, and I hope that you guys learn to understand it more than what I'm saying at the moment. It's essentially like a, what was it, Fibonacci sequence? Yeah. It's the Fibonacci sequence, essentially. So yeah. For anyone, with that, David will be taking a -1 to his rolls for the time being, due to the tag he is taken on, which means he'll take a -1 to all of his rolls, which can be mitigated with the pluses attached to his powers. But anyways, enough about that. Yes, it is a pyramid scheme, but for dying. It's a lovely pyramid scheme. The best kind. So with that, you've only taken a simple scratched. The rest of you have taken this lovely opportunity to kind of get out of the way of being trampled.
I was gonna say, I ideally would like to grab Pandora and, I guess Flash to, um, like an area of shadow behind.
Okay. It is interesting. I'm not saying this is a game thing, more just as a you. So for that, I'd like a sneak around roll.
All right, and I do have a power tag that should help with that. Teleport through shadows.
Yes.
How does this work? Do I just click the little flame both sides?
So you were click the little box on the side of it,
Okay.
and if you have any other skills that'll help you move in this situation, like even if they're not from the same card, you can still click those as well to move you and Pandora to safety behind another shadow using the sneak around skill.
Would supplies surprise from blind spots also help?
Then go for
Even
that.
though technically that's
You may consider that more to be a battle move, but as if he is surprised from that you have disappeared into his blind spot,
yeah.
I would still take that as a feasible use.
Okay. Okay, now how do I do this? How do
Once you've clicked the powers that you want to use, go up to your sheet and click on the words sneak around.
Okay, thank you.
And with that, you have rolled a success.
Success?
A mild success. Uh, as in the situation, I have the options to make your life more complicated.
Wicked.
So while you are okay, so while you and Pandora can transport through the shadows, either I'll give this to you, that someone that you don't know and seems absolutely unremarkable at the moment, and probably is, right? Right? They'll notice you. Or you can teleport, but you have to leave Pandora behind.
So it's both of us go and someone sees.
Yeah, someone that's probably not important will never show up again.
Hmm.
You know. Is the sarcasm coming out heavily enough? I don't know. I'm worried it's not.
I picked up on it.
We ball. I'm doing it. I'm taking both. I'm taking Pandora.
All right. So,
Sarcasm noted. I'm aware that may be a thing that comes up later, but fuck it, we ball. For the pretty lady.
My character is angry because she missed it, and now Reef with Pandora's behind shadow, so she can't shoot again. So she used perception to look around if she can shoot something to fall on shadow.
oh, okay. So
Wait, you're opening fire on the other player character?
no, what I'm to understand is that your plan is to shoot at something to fall upon.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
shadow.
Hmm. You know what? I'm going to have you. It's going to be a change the game roll. using this, I'm going to give you puzzle solver, and because you've pushed aside everyone else in your idea to get this, your personal gear, and I'm best when I work. No, just your puzzle solver and personal gear.
Yeah.
We're going to see if we can change the game, which was a great success.
Yay.
So now you get. So now you can create a story tag, which will help you do the next thing you do. You can burn a power tag or a story tag to give or reduce a status by 1 tier or 1 juice. You can scale up the effect to hit more targets or to do more damage, or to prolong the effect, hide the effect, or to make any other improvements you and the MC agree on. So you can choose 2 of these things. I would suggest that we're going to create a story tag, a temporary story tag.
Okay.
And with that, we can give or reduce a status
Okay.
to the creature. So with that, using that temporary story tag, a falling lamppost, we're going to use the falling lamppost alongside puzzle solver.
Okay.
To, I believe, and you're in such a position that you can hit with all you've got. So
Yeah.
we're going to roll a power. And on a hit, the target will take the appropriate status, which is tier equal to power, to hurt
Okay.
or subdue this strange monster.
What are
And
options?
unfortunately, you missed.
Oh, I'm so unlucky today.
I am sorry.
It's okay.
With that, you are the strange creature is going to attack you, and it's going to attack one other person using the street lamppost that fell next to it. So
I would let me attack because I want to protect other people.
Oh, I know. I'm saying that it'll attack you and someone else.
I'm trying to save this someone else because of me, like push out or something.
So you want to try to take both damages?
Yeah. I just want push, not drag or go with someone else, but push out somewhere far from this monster.
Okay. Then Jack, as you are about to be attacked by this lamppost wielding monster, Nicole expertly comes in, dives, pushes you out of the way, and gets her leg broken under the weight of this tremendous club, taking a tier 3 status.
Well, I've still got my boxing wraps on, and this guy's been hurting a lot of people, so I'm just gonna go ham. I'm gonna look for any weak spot, just wail on it.
So you're going to go toe to toe?
Oh yeah.
All right. Give me the powers that are going to help you out with that.
I've got boxing. I've got Street Fighter. I think are pretty good.
Okay. Do you feel any mystical senses or energies that are coming to help you out in this situation?
I don't know. There might be some kind of subconscious channeling of some demonic attributes here. Some kind of demonic strength.
All right.
Toe to toe is what that was?
Yes, I'd like you to go toe to toe.
All right.
And that was a great success.
Great success.
You
Let's go.
get to choose 2 of these. So you either manage to achieve your goal. For example, you take something they hold, whatever your goal was at this moment, which was just
Beating him
it's
back.
not going to be that one. It's to push him back and to give your allies an advantage in that.
Yeah. It's going to be a couple like big like right left combo, and then a big right uppercut. Try and like knock him backwards a couple feet.
Okay,
Make
you can get him
good.
Bit. You can get them good by inflicting status with your tier equal to the power that you've given.
Oh.
Which you can do 2 of these things. And with the last, or you can block, dodge, or counter their best attempts. So for what you've suggested, I would suggest taking the bottom 2.
Yeah.
Blocking any counterattack at the same time.
Yeah. Block whatever it swings at me and try and knock him back a couple paces. Give the allies a little bit more time to regroup.
Well, you won't be able to give them as much time to regroup, but you managed to avoid any attempt to attack you back after you've hit them.
Okay.
And you can feel really well that you hit it pretty strongly.
Okay.
But the skin cracks a bit. But you can feel that no real internal damage has been dealt.
Okay.
So
Nicole is trying to call to her partner, Eric, for help.
I will say that unfortunately right now your partner isn't with you at the moment and unable to. You'll have to make a phone call, is the thing.
I'm saying about phone calling.
Okay.
Or walkie-talking.
I'll give that to you. As that happens, though, I would like to know, what is Pandora doing that all of this craziness has been happening?
After the immediate...
Because there is no turn order in this. It's just you jump in for the most part.
Yeah, I kind of realized it. Like looking around, and all of this just seems kind of ridiculous. And she's like, okay, this has to be some, like, I ended up stumbling on some type of like filming set or something, obviously. Like, this is ridiculous. So she's effectively gonna look at this thing and tell it to sit.
Okay. What powers are you using to help you out with this?
Dominatrix. This isn't really sadness, but it is kind of like annoyance because these people are ruining my day. Turn determination. And unknowing to her, she is pulling from the deck. Like, it's kind of subconscious that she's pulling from her deck. Okay. It's just been in her hand this whole time.
Give me a roll.
Okay.
With the powers clicked.
Yeah.
And if you're doing the deck, I'm gonna have to get you to roll a change the game afterwards as well.
Okay.
But it is going to be convince.
Convince. Okay.
That is a mild success.
And changing the game.
which is a mild success as well. You can either give or reduce a status to your. What did you pull? The devil. You know, it works. No, I'm gonna choose for you then.
Yeah, go ahead.
You spend one juice and you are going to inflict a secondary tier to it. Oh god. Yeah. So you have gotten him to sit. You've successfully. He has looked at you, and strangely, while looking at you, some small coins fall from above, out of nowhere, it seems, and drop into his hand. And as they drop into his hand, he sits down and blinks for a moment. Just sitting there, counting out the money that has just fallen from above.
Nico, try use this distraction to shoot him again while trying phone calling to Eric.
He's calm.
You can either shoot or you can phone.
We could leave.
I'd shoot.
We can
Okay.
leave. It's taken care of.
That is. And unfortunately, I'm going to give you a weakness of there are too many people around, and you've realized that there are so many people around
Okay.
that you are also taking on a weakness tag. I'm going to give you a hit it with all you've got.
Okay.
For a mild success. You can either take cover or secure a superior position. You can control the collateral damage. You can hold the target's attention. You can gain the upper hand, gain one juice to be used later for a change the game. Or you can get them good and shoot them once and give them and add to their currently
Second one.
bruised.
I want shoot good.
You want to get them good?
Yeah.
All right. The bullet seems to kind of just smush into him. As unfortunately, you only slightly graze him, and something else about him is odd. Still, with the fact he doesn't seem to be taking a lot of physical damage.
Can I ask a quick question? I understand I have a tier 1 status and she's got and Nicole has a tier 3 status, right?
Yes.
And do those
that should have been
subtract
much
directly from rolls
Never mind.
or only particular rolls?
No, they subtract from rules. It didn't add to the thing. That was the reason for that. Okay. So I have to re-say this. As a whoops. You miss. Unfortunately, due to the massive amount of pain coursing through your leg.
Pandora is seeing that this thing is pretty much like satiated, right?
Almost. It seems like there's still something it wants. And are you guys gonna, although he doesn't seem to be outwardly hostile at the moment.
Yeah.
Can I So I don't know really how to describe this as an action, but the coin thing definitely kind of triggers something for David because he's used to being with homeless people who are begging for change, begging for, any kind of money. We're on a bridge. Is a troll, like that's what it looks like to him. So for my action, David's trying to sort of like set himself between Nicole and the troll, as he just like reaches into a pocket and he's throwing more coins on the ground in front of it.
I would like you to roll convince for this.
Okay.
And whatever powers you can make work, I'll take them.
Will you allow looks harmless
Yes.
and urban survival or nerves of steel? Either of those?
Actually, I'll take nerves of steel and urban survival instead.
Instead of the looks harmless?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm a -1 because of my injury, but that should knock me down to a 9.
Yeah,
Unless you think my injury won't affect this.
I don't think your injury is going to affect this very much. You are scratched. Even then, I was gonna. They seem satiated. In fact, they seem entirely banal and almost smaller now. In fact, they seem to continue to be getting smaller. And now, as he's getting smaller, you can see that he was wearing a pair of overalls, a little name on it that said Paul. And within a few minutes, he is turned into a run-of-the-mill, everyday sort of looking construction worker.
Nicole angry say, I don't know what you are, but you are under arrest. And she pointing out gun, trying to reach handcuff in pocket.
While you do that,
Because he hurt people.
oh no, not why
So-
you do that. Why are you doing that? I meant while you are trying to do that.
Because I'm police, so I want to protect people, and he hurt people, and break love by attacking people.
Yes.
So I'm thinking I should arrest him.
He looks at you and he just has these coins in his hand and he looks at you and just kind of goes, under arrest for what?
For attacking people, and I show on other people on bridge, like like David and Reeve.
But I haven't hurt anybody. I don't even know how I got here. I just have these coins in my hand, and that's all gone in the ways of things.
I call to Eric for help
Pan
because I can't stand out with broken leg.
Pan's
Your radio makes silence back. And Pan
is gonna walk up to Nicole, and at first she goes to put her hand on her shoulder, and then realizes, oh wait, this is a cop. I can't use that here, and pulls her hand away, and then just I think he's as confused as we are. So
I look
We
I
just
look at Pandora.
leave him alone. He isn't hurting anyone anymore.
But what if he back to be shot too soon again and hurt more people?
I mean,
Before you can answer that, a strange man in a tweed suit with a few rough marks on his face that look a little like
Here it is,
scars
probably. Here it is, probably.
mhm.
walks over and says, "That won't be an issue. In fact, it seems that this story is wrapping up." And in his hands is a little notebook. He closes delicately. And as he does, the scene around you, mist begins to swirl around you a bit. And it seems almost like it's trying to encroach into every aspect of what's going on.
David full on growls at it, like at the mist, and he doesn't really know what comes over him. It's just sort of like a.
And Nicole will say, and who the hell are you? Looking at him.
We can discuss this in a moment. I would appreciate if all of you were to follow me. Although to follow me, I believe that that would need to be fixed. And he points with his pen at Nicole's leg. And a swirl of papers erupt from his notebook, wrap around her leg, and then almost seem to melt into it. With the words and everything that was written down on them just disappearing. And all you can see, if anyone takes a moment to really try to see what was written on these sheets of paper that wrapped around Nicole's leg, it says the words, "Fix this." And Nicole's status is gone. Now she's just a little. Now she might limp a little bit, but not. It's not a broken leg anymore. It's now just a limp.
And Nicole will touch her leg and thinking, what is happening?
We can explain more in just a moment. Please follow me
To your
before the
apartment.
mists encroach and cause many of us to no longer recall exactly what this was. And no, not my apartment, my shop. I have a little secondhand bookstore just a few blocks that way.
David is backing away from the mist, but I would like to do an investigate on what he did with the leg.
That would be literally an investigate. Yeah, go for it.
Former ER surgeon. I assume chemistry has nothing to do with it, but
I will not accept chemistry as
yeah, I didn't think
power
so,
in this
but-
situation.
Could I help
Former ER,
I
yes.
can't,
investigate with limitless creativity?
I can't use my perception because I'm cop, so I could look at him with my perception.
I will give you perceptive to small details,
Yeah,
and I'll then give you investigate, but that's as much as I'll give you for this.
okay.
And it's the same for you can have one of the power of ER surgeon, and you can use limitless creativity, all
Okay.
for investigate. Each of you will investigate separately.
Cautious or skeptical?
Skeptical.
So should we do this as like a one person doing the investigate and the others trying to boost them, or should we all just do a
No,
quick
I want you
investigate?
all to do a quick investigate.
Okay.
And depending on how well you do,
Miss.
Ooh. 13.
Yeah,
so
miss.
unfortunately, as an ER surgeon and with limitless creativity, you were stumped for a reason. However, Both the skeptical of others' motives and the perceptive to small details allow you to ask the MC a question about the subject of your investigation, or ask another player a relevant question about their character. They must either give you a straight answer or a solid lead. So you can both ask a single question of this strange man, and he will answer honestly. That is how we're doing this.
I'll let you go first, Nicole.
Nicole and Pandora.
I'll let Nicole go first because I need to think a bit.
I'm asking, who was this guy with coins and what happened?
Unfortunately, those are two questions.
I'm asking, what happened?
His mythos became berserk, and he became a pseudo-avatar, a being more like a legend than like a person. And because of that craze, this event happened. And he's saying this while he's walking towards his bookshop. So I'm hoping everyone is keeping up.
David's walking along. He is offering a hand to Nicole since she is still limping, presumably.
Yeah.
Reed's just walking confidently behind him.
I'm starting thinking if I'm in hidden camera or some reality show, because mythos, legends.
Unfortunately, I cannot answer these questions in the ways that you want me to answer them.
And I'm working very secure because I don't trust him.
A wise decision. Almost like he can hear your thoughts a bit.
I'm still trying in my pocket call to Eric. Like
unfortunately, you just keep hitting static. It seems like it's not going to go through.
Pandora.
I'm starting to record what he talks because I'm cop, so I want a record.
Okay.
But I hide this recording in my pocket.
Pandora, seeing Nicole talking to this strange man, kind of takes a step back. And then when Nicole finishes and she sees David kind of like helping her walk, Pandora kind of sneaks over to the other side. So, do you have a name? Or are we just supposed to call you, I don't know, Scarred Stranger?
You may ask one of two names. Would you like a mundane name or a name of more substantial proportions?
Whatever you want me to call you.
Then you may call me Author. And as he says this, you all arrive in front of his bookstore, which is just a lovely little place that doesn't really seem to have a name. It just says books in neon letters, or argon, depending on whether or not you want it to be green, you want it to be blue or orange. But it says
those
books.
are the best bookstores. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm looking around if there are hidden cameramen in bush or something.
That will take an investigation roll.
Okay.
I'll give you perceptive to small details and puzzle solver.
Okay.
Well, you did really well for this. You got a great success. So, you were looking for hidden cameras. There aren't any. Just very flat out. There is not a single hidden camera. There's not a single hidden recording device. There is not anything you can find in this bookshop besides books. What you do notice is that the second you have all entered the bookstore and the doors closed, it became very misty outside.
There's just sort of like a low, long, drawn out growl, and David's watching the mist outside of the window. Like he doesn't even seem aware that he's making that noise.
I'm sit down on a chair or something like that. Do not walk more.
Well, he does lead you into a nice, not quite a back room, but not quite a front room. It's kind of a little further back in the store. There's a nice little area where with a few leather chairs, a couch. And he looks directly at Pandora and goes, "That is not for any use aside from sitting."
Nope. I couldn't get that one out. Sorry.
David's like
And-
probably the last one stepping away from the window.
Yeah.
But once people are kind of settled, I think he's like pulling out gauze and some of like the flowers and everything that he gathered earlier. And he tries to say something. It kind of comes out another like growl, snort, but he points at Nicole's leg and he seems to be like asking permission.
I say okay. I'm saying that I agree.
Can I do a change the game to heal her status?
Absolutely.
And
you know which things to click
allow
for
the
this,
chemistry
I
and
guess.
surgeon on this one?
I absolutely, yes.
Okay, so when I'm doing this, do I just tag the two powers and then roll, or do I also put a plus
Yes,
two
that's all you need to do.
Okay, cool.
Because when you tag those powers, it'll give the +2s. So yeah.
Okay. So with that, I'm gonna use I get one juice point, and I would like to reduce the status by 1 with it.
Yes. Normally it would only be temporary. However, this is in the way that this is, it's not quite as temporary as it's not immediately acting. You know that her leg will be fixed and she'll be a lot better, but for now it kind of sucks. You've done all
How
the
long
doctor
does a
things
tier
that you
1
can
status
do.
normally last, by the way?
I feel like any of them last as long as I want them to.
Fair.
But I'll also give you that while doing that, you touched up your own wounds a bit. So they
Can
were
it
just
just be
scratches.
something that he just sort of like shook it off? It was all mental shock from taking a
Yeah.
bat to the face.
Predominantly. Absolutely. So you were all either sitting, standing, perusing through books, whatever you want to do, as author stands here and looks at you and says, "I'm certain you all have questions."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have. For example, what do mythos, legends? Because it sounds like Pismo, and I don't know what you're talking.
You are now known as rifts. And he looks at all of you. You have only just awakened to these. But you are made up of two important aspects. You are made up of both mundane and mythic. We call these mythos and logos. Your mythos is the grand story that is who you are, beyond who you are. Your logos is who you choose to be and believe you are currently. You've only just begun to wake into these. I cannot explain in great detail, only that you have the opportunity to either stay as you are or to become more powerful at the expense of your everyday.
Nice, awkward, but I think I'm going back to home and I need a report right to job. I'm not sure what I wrote because nobody will believe me at
I'm
the
afraid that if you report this, nothing will happen. Or if you were to look now, nothing ever did happen. And even as he says this, you actually feel the memories of what just happened already trying to slip away. They don't, but you feel them almost disappearing. If you do not believe that this was an event that, as far as the city is concerned, does not exist, please return to the bridge, and you will see no damage, no palm,
I'm start to
nothing.
thinking that I should note what I remember because I feel like sleeping memories, so I'm rush to writing in notebook.
You may choose to forego this, but if you do, you will never be able to know what you are, nor will you be able to help the others that are like you.
Jack is just like kind of half listening and half looking through the shelves of books, and he kind of pauses if anyone's happens to be watching. Kind of pauses in front of one shelf, and he sees that there's this like really old leather-bound tome as Ars Goetia printed on the spine in this like fancy gold font, and he's looks over his shoulder. So, let me get this straight. You're trying to tell us that some crazy magic bullshit just happened. Now we've all got magic powers or something. Is that what's going on here? Because I kind of find that hard to believe. No
Well, you've
offense.
kind
I'm
of
sure you've got more knowledge about the subject matter than me.
well,
I mean, I've done some crazy shit, but I've never heard of a drug doing that before.
I'm at that side reading everything until I remember, and I start with reading where to say I'm superpower have, and I think like I write and let to decide what to do with this notebook and how I handle this to job tomorrow.
how will you handle this at your job tomorrow? It's an interesting
I'm
question.
I'm cop, so I think yes.
As a cop, do you not also have duties? Not just to this city, but to its people?
Yeah, but these duties not pay bills and food.
Who's to say they can't do both? In fact, there is no need for any of you to forego your lives at this point.
There's just sort of amused smile on David's face at that.
I mean,
Personally, I'd like to learn more.
David's nodding in agreement with what Reeve just said.
Nicole, I have is skeptic and think this is some awkward or some stuff like that. Like
I can give
Jehovah.
you information in ways that you can only find on your own later. But let me tell you this now. You have awakened rifts. You may run from it, but occurrences like what you just experienced are happening more and more throughout this city. More people in danger. And I am not someone who has either the proclivity or the ability to solve these alone. You may take the time you need to adjust to this world. And when you are ready, the story will guide people to you.
So,
Or you to them.
are you asking for our help?
I'm telling you that help is asking you.
I mean,
And less asking and more telling.
Hmm.
It's chosen you. You may try to run from this responsibility.
I'm done running. What accent was that? Hello?
Still, you may try to run, each and every one of you in your own way.
You have
But fate
some
has a way of finding you on the
You
road
have-
to avoidance.
you have some bulletin or stuff like that.
is
I have
this
some
Like other occults.
Are you asking if I have an ability with books?
No, I'm asking if you have bulletin to recruit people like us.
Sorry, my brain is doing. Do I have the ability to record people like you or to?
No, I'm asking if you have like other occult bulletin like Jehovah and stuff.
I think I'm just having trouble hearing it.
I
sorry.
said that. Do you have some newsletter or
Oh,
stuff
do I have
like
a
that?
newsletter or things like that?
Yeah, like other occults and stuff like Jehovah.
No, that's not something we do. In fact, the very existence of us tends to be kept secret, not by us or by the choices we make, but by the city itself. The city chooses to forget.
I mean, I'm much more of a lover than a fighter, unless they like it rough, but I doubt they're into that.
Oh, they may be. You're going to run into a lot of people.
David tries to talk. There's definitely like it's like there's two sets of vocal cords like fighting or something, but he after a moment points to Pandora and he's like your approach better than gun.
Problems have a multitude of ways of being solved. You do not need to fight. And you do not need to talk. You will find your way to do things. As you have been bound together, not only by me, it would seem, but by history. I would recommend you take some time to adjust, and I also recommend each of you maybe pick up one of these books that seem to speak to you.
Any recommendations?
Yeah, especially for me.
The author seems to just raise his hand with a pen, almost like he's conducting. In 5 separate books come out, handed to each of you. For the most part, they seem predominantly blank when you open and flip through them, but you see a little bit about them. And you see a name written on each book. For Pandora, the name you see written is that of Asmodeus, which you may or may not know who that is yet. For Reeve, you see the name that has an accent on it, so you're not entirely certain how to pronounce it. Maybe it's not like you'll figure it out eventually. For Jack, you suddenly have the book that you were looking at that said the Ars Goetia on it. Not only is that the book that you find in front of you, when you turn to look at him and watch all these books come out, kind of hits you in the back of the head.
Looks like the book chose you.
And for David, you see a book that says Dreki, which for some reason you understand exactly as
But
the
I
name
don't
of a
get-
dragon. And for Nicole, in front of you lies a book titled simply as Nosferatu. Now, whether or not you choose to share this with anyone is entirely up to you, but that's just, author seems to know.
I'm
Pandora.
still, I'm still skeptic, but I pick up book and put it to my bag.
And with that, even with that, putting it to your back, a quick image kind of flies into your head of times you managed to get information from a subject a bit more easily than it should have happened. Times that you were able to really find more information on about people and why. And for some reason, it seems to almost make your sunlight sensitivity make sense.
Because I'm guessing Pandora's book looks at least a little bit similar to Jack's.
No, it looks like a textbook.
I mean, they're both on demons.
I mean, yeah, but
That's how
the shape
she
and the texture of the book, like
Do
Jack's
all of them
looks
look like
demonic.
textbooks?
Yours looks like
Hmm?
like a textbook. Reeve, yours looks like a sketchbook. David is a leather-bound journal, and Nicole looks like almost like a very nice hardcover book you might get for like a nice fiction story, first printing. So no, none of your books look the same.
Okay. Because I was just thinking, oh, they're both about demons, and she was gonna go over and say something, but never mind.
She can absolutely do that still. It's just
No. The other person she wanted to talk to is Reeve.
That. Jack, your book looks cool. What?
I was just saying it's hard to do back and forth because we have two.
Oh yeah.
We really need to set up.
Scratch that.
I love that.
And I love
Nicholas,
that I looked at him instead of at the camera. Being in the same room's a problem for me.
Nicholas thinking, well, I have nice book to bed before sleep.
Oh, that's definitely an opinion to have. But eventually, even if you are skeptic, this is slightly spoilery for your characters, for just, you know, to prep you for next session. You begin to understand, your skepticism fades a little bit over time with this new information. But right now, this dude is sus, vicious.
Yeah, and I have like think I'm in some sort occult rather than reality. And I'm angry that what I say tomorrow at the job when they sent me on patrol and stuff happened and I can't say what happened.
You know what? Actually, author does tell you that you can absolutely tell people what happened, but you'll see what happens when one happens to do that. In
Yeah,
fact, author
and
suggests you all head your own ways and
yeah, and I
try to live a
think
day in your life, just one more day, to see what it's like.
yeah, and I feel like my boss will say that I'm reading too much internet instant and I make up everything what happened.
Well, let's find out.
Um,
Uh, I'm I am going to actually split you off into individual scenes in just a moment, as you.
Pandora
But
wants to
if
do
you have
one
something to,
thing.
if there's something you want to do first, please do.
To Reeve as they're leaving. Thank you for saving me back there. Is there some way I can repay you?
We can talk about that later, pretty lady. Where was the accent? Gone. Forgot about it. Left at the airport.
Yeah, the author stole it.
The author stole my accent.
I mean, I can make you a promise if you like.
And what's that?
I won't stop until your legs are shaking and your neighbors know my name.
Is that a
It's
promise?
Pandora, by the way.
Individual scenes. I'm not skipping because it's
The last thing she
uncomfortable. I
says
think that's
is,
hilarious.
is
I
that
just
a
want to leave it right
promise?
there.
I want to say to David that thank you for trying to help me and trying to help working me.
Before everybody splits up, David will nod at the thanks. He kind of like, you know, somebody who just kind of like is thanked frequently but doesn't really ever like let it sink in any way. And he says there's a diner in the theater quarter, been around for a long time. And I don't know what Errol's character's diner is actually named yet, but he's gonna say it. He's like, I'll be
I
there
actually have that written
tomorrow.
down.
What's that?
I actually have that written down. Give me a moment.
Oh yeah,
It
wait,
is
I remember
Moose Ridge
that diner.
Diner.
Moose
Yeah,
Ridge. That's
Moose
right.
Ridge, right? Oof.
Says, I'll be
A
there
lot of
You guys
Lot
go
of-
there?
tomorrow.
lot of late night burgers after class, I tell you.
You guys go there?
Yeah, I study there all the time. I mean,
I'm
it's usually
thinking
pretty quiet once my
I'm,
job and classes are all done for the day.
I'm thinking that if I should buy for dinner for David for helping me because I'm thinking that he don't have money for any food in this diner.
Moose Ridge has bottomless fries for $5. They go a long way.
Do they have bottomless Riz for $5? That was out of character.
All right. I'm gonna get you all into little scenes because then after that, I'm gonna draw the curtains. But still, so first things first, we're gonna walk over to the police station and find ourselves at the police station of Nicole. And Nicole, you walk in. Are you going to do what author said and kind of keep it to
First-
yourself, or are you going to like tell everyone like what you did?
First I'm going to talk to Eric and yell at him why he don't pick up when I'm calling.
You called?
I didn't know you called. I saw like I didn't hear anything coming through the radio. It's like nothing. You called?
Yeah, many times.
Oh. Are you sure your radio's working?
Check out for himself, and I give him my radio.
The button's broken. See?
Great.
Like you click it and then boing.
Just great.
We should get you a new one requisitioned. Yep, that's how I say that word. Requisitioned.
It's spreading, oh no. My flambly speech.
Anyways, how did patrol go last night? Anyways,
I just don't want that. It was awful, and even if I tell you what happened, you don't believe me.
no, I might
And
believe you. It depends on what happens. You know, just
It's just some Coco Jumbo like from fantasy movie.
I wish I had a cock a jumble from a Phantasm movie. That sounds fun.
Believe me, you don't want, because now I don't know what I say to boss and what I report to him from last patrol.
Well, you better do so soon. Like, boss is curious. In fact, I think he called you over.
I think I will lie to him because I just don't want to be sent to asylum.
Okay. So you're not even going to tell your partner any of what happened?
I tried to say that I showing him my notebook, what I wrote.
When he looks at your notebook, he hands it back to you and goes, "It's blank." When you look at your notebook, it's filled with words and details and like everything. But when he looks at it, he can't read the words.
I said that I tried it for you, and I'm trying to read.
As you say the second you start saying the words, as they come out loud, they almost get jumbled into a. And the second he hears them, they are forgotten as quickly as they're said, almost like you never said them. It's not that he's trying to ignore you. You realize it's that he literally can't hear or see these.
I just give up, and I sit down behind desk and put head on my hands and hands on desk and like that sad.
All right. And as you do that, your boss, Captain Murphy, walks past over to the desk and goes, "Smith."
What?
So I was what? So I was asking. I was wanting your opinion because you seem to be the one that knows the best things. Should I grow a mustache?
I think you look better with mustache.
That'll definitely help me in the ladies department. Thanks, Smith. Well, I can't promote you for that. Here's a free coffee. Just puts his cup of coffee down in front of you and then walks away.
And I say, thank you, boss. I'm still sad.
So with that, we move on to another scene with someone else. And it seems, unfortunately, that Nicole, to you, that no one, it's that something is working against you to be able to tell the story of what happened last night. And your boss is an idiot. Anyways, moving on. Reeve! What's a day
Yes,
in the
Chef.
life look like for you after this?
Well, it was already evening. So she's probably heading back to her apartment, like checking how early she has to be in the studio tomorrow, like when her first appointment is, planning what time she has to go into the studio for her first client, prep beforehand. And she sketches a picture of Author as, scars on her face were very interesting. On his face were very interesting. He looked like an interesting fellow. So she's just sketching a photo with like the background and stuff of the bridge and the lamps. And before she goes to bed, she's probably also going to try to read through the book.
All right. This is going to be. I'm going to use this as the opportunity to, for those watching currently, anyone or in the future or any time, anyone who wants to see that picture of Author drawn, and even potentially a picture of that troll that was drawn, please check out our Discord, and you'll be able to see a picture of Author that has been drawn as well as the troll. Nothing else, because I only have so much skill drawing stuff. Please check it out, and we will be putting those up in just a moment. And as you read through the book, you seem to, the thing you were able to pull from and do yesterday is you seem to, by reading the book, you seem to understand that more. You understand a bit of who this knot is, and a bit more on how your own abilities work. And as you drift off into sleep, into the night, you wake the next day, you get to work on time. Is there anything, do you tell anyone about what happened yesterday, or is it just a...
What happened last night may just confuse clients, would probably think she's deranged, but a lot of what she does is spark up conversation with clients. So pretty much asking them about their day.
By talking to these
random
people,
conversation.
by talking to these people, you learn that the damage that was done to that bridge seems to not have happened.
What if they ask about scarf on her hand?
Scars on Reeve's hands?
Yeah, because she was hurted when I was shooting.
No, Reeve never got hurt. David got hurt, but he got scratched. And for David, that's more of a everyday occurrence than a... Yes.
I remember that I shooted first time and missed it, and then I was hurted, scratched.
It was David that got scratched. David moved in to take on the damage that you were going to take.
Okay.
And if we're wrong, please let us know in the comments of this video. I'm gonna throw those in every now and then. I'm sorry. Anyways, but the commotion that happened around the bridge, nothing seems to happen except one of your clients, a client you've never seen before, comes in. They talk about getting a cool like rune tattoo done on them. And for some reason, as they describe this rune, you know exactly what rune they were talking about just by the name of it. And this Norse symbol. And as you're tattooing them, they look at you and go, "Crazy about the troll last night."
You know about the troll.
"I know about you." And he says this as he's paying and getting done.
You were the one who saw me
Well,
last night.
Who's to say who saw anyone? We'll see you around.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Oh no. Oh no. Everything's fine.
Yeah. So, yes, thank you for putting into chat. That means I'm going to you next, Pandora. Pandora, tell us a bit about the day.
So that night, she goes back to her place. First checks if there's like any sign from Vic that they're
Vic seems to just be there.
okay,
just bumming around.
Yeah, okay. So Vic is just there now. Kind of sees him, waves, and doesn't say anything, which is out of character for her. As she just starts to go back into her room. Huh?
Thumbs up?
Yeah, just weird. Really weird.
You want to talk about it? But if you don't want to talk about it, that'd be great too.
Yeah, don't really want to.
Fantastic. And he's just sitting there.
Though.
Ah, fantastic. Think she might be interested in getting involved in some filmings?
Maybe not filmings, but fun times?
Also good. Have a nice time.
I will later. I'm going to go shower.
You want me to join you?
Yeah, come on.
Excellent.
And that's how her night kind of ends. Because I'm putting it there.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do anyways. I wasn't going to go any further. Mostly because I think that's just a channel policy. It's just a fade to black.
Door. I have music on in the background. I can't tell if you guys can hear it. So yeah, next day comes. She kind of just packs her stuff up. She does not wait for Vic to wake up because she knows he's going to sleep in. And so heads to one of her normal places where she goes to read tarot, tries to make a few bucks.
I'd like you to pull a tarot card for me now.
Great. No, can I pull again, please?
You got death, didn't you?
No, I got worse.
Lovers?
What is worse than death?
The tower.
That is actually not bad.
Oh.
Death really isn't bad. Tower
no,
is
this one is bad.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I remember something happened last time.
A dumpster near where you are spontaneously combusts as soon as you pull that card. And unfortunately, the client that you had there hadn't paid yet, got freaked out, and ran off.
Do you want to pull another one?
Yeah, sure. Let's go. Let's see how bad this can
All right.
go. Oh, yay! I got a good one this time. Wheel of Fortune.
Nice. As you pick up, you kind of start walking around. You draw the card, you look at it and go, yeah, that's my luck today. And as you start putting it back in your deck, you notice $100 on the ground. Congrats. Someone just dropped $100. It's one single $100 bill. This would be suspect, but it's real.
Still better than a lottery.
Yeah, she'll pick it up, pocket it, not really think about it. As she's just kind of doing her thing of normal, like, okay, where do I go now? Who can I see now? Which shop owners will let me use their back room if I do something for them?
Well, your fellatio skills are impeccable, but I think right now all you hear in the back of your head is you hear just a little voice in the back of your head going, good, good. Almost like it's behind you.
Kind of does like this slow look, like not trying to make it obvious.
Oh,
And
there's
then,
no one there.
great, now I'm going crazy.
No, we are. And then we move on to Jack.
Oh, well, I mean, after leave the bookstore, head back to the dorms, and probably shower and get ready for class in the morning. Repack his bag with his textbooks and change out his wraps for the gym after class.
Okay.
Pretty kind of just maybe like heat up some ramen because he's a broke college student.
Yeah.
makes like a dinner that probably costs like $3 total because he forgot to go to the store because of the bridge thing.
Yep. Well, yeah, the night goes pretty uneventfully. You go to class the next day. You're not really paying all that good attention.
He snuck
Normally
the
you
new
are.
book in.
But,
He's just reading
yeah.
the new book.
There's a lot of information here. A lot of stuff. And you get to know your own powers a bit more and a bit understand things a bit better. But even then, it's actually more than what everyone else got, for the primary reason of there are over 72 detailed accounts of what exactly this thing does.
Damn. This shit is weird, man. Flipping through the book.
You do have a few people look at your book, go, that is weird. Then just continue moving along. You may slowly be developing the class weirdo tag, but that's a different thing. And I don't mean like a tag in your cards. I mean just like in general, you are slowly developing the class weirdo, and people are going, "That's a weird book. Do we want to be friends with him? No. What if he's one of those like black hooded trench coat people that come in and it's just and no, let's just not do that."
Fair enough.
Yeah. Finally, we move on to David.
David's probably the last one to leave the bookstore.
You manage to leave when it's the least misty.
It's not just about the mist. There's kind of like a sense for him of like he knows the city like the back of his hand. You know what I'm saying? He's been all over, and he also knows he's never fucking seen this bookstore before.
Yeah.
And so that's not something that he thinks of like lightly. Does that make sense? And there's a sense of like, I don't know if I'll be able to find my way back here. because unlike the others who are skeptical, like he is not. From the start of this, he's just had a sense that like things shifted. And he also has this sort of constant reminder because every time he passes a mirrored surface, he sees a dragon. He no longer sees himself. It follows him as he walks past windows. It's there when he looks at a mirror. And so he also has the medical training that's going like, I know what schizophrenia is, I know what insanity is. And I also like don't think that's what's happening. So all of this is going through his mind, like even before he like sets foot out of the bookstore. And then he kind of like pauses in the doorway and he like looks back at Author and he says, do you have a business card?
He kind of just taps where your jacket pocket is on himself. It's kind of like, check there.
Yeah, and he pulls it in. Like his face isn't even like really surprised if there's just a card inside of his pocket at that point.
There's a card. It says Author and the bookstore you only know about once you know about.
You need a better name.
If you flip on the back, it goes, if you flip it to the back, it says, always where you need to find it.
I'm just gonna call this the Liminal Bookstore.
Call it what you want.
Thank you.
That's more of a, honestly, my bookstore is just called Books. Like the sign says outside. The bookstore that only shows up once you know where it is, sort of thing. I guess you would call it a subtitle.
I know nobody else said so, but thank you for stepping in.
I was ready to step in sooner, but you all handled Paul very well.
He kind of, like pulls his hoodie up at that point, like hand on the doorstep, like if there's anything else that the other wants to say before he goes.
And he does. He goes, things will only get more difficult from here out.
There's just sort of like a laugh at that.
But I trust that you, especially, will be able to handle it.
He pauses for a moment and he looks back and he says, I don't want to find out how deep my capacity to handle things goes.
Unfortunately, we all do, whether we want to or not. If you fully turn around at this point,
yeah,
Author and the bookstore are gone. You turn back to look where your hand was on the door, and that's also gone. And you happen to be right where you were going to head to after.
Yeah, he kind of like looks at the card once more and he sticks it into the journal. It's like his new bookmark.
Good thing to use business cards for.
He goes to Moose Ridge first off. $5 for a plate of fries that never ends, which ends up being like half his body weight.
Unfortunately, the owner isn't here.
Related.
Yes. Unfortunately, the owner isn't here right now. But we'll probably roll around when they need to.
And he just kind of, he eats for probably like a solid hour, apologizing every once in a while whenever there's like a refill that comes by, but and then leaves just about every spare piece of change he has for a tip. Then he's going on walkabout around the city because he's heard from homeless people all the time crazy stories. Everybody dismisses them, himself included, but he's listening with like a new ear now. Like, sure, that might be schizophrenia, that might be erratic behavior, or they might have seen something and the mist didn't quite get to them because the mist didn't see them as important.
Yeah.
And every time he passes over a bridge, he's leaving coins, bus tokens, whatever he has in his pockets. Just like on the rail of the bridge.
One of... Give me an investigation roll.
Okay. Any of my tags going to be valuable on it?
Do you have any that are good for just listening?
The hobo looks harmless.
Desire to be good, and I'll give you desire to be good, and many hands make light work. Oh, okay. Wait, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, those
I looked
aren't
at
mine.
someone else's. That is someone else's entirely. Whoops, I apologize.
That's okay. I
go
have
for
urban
hobo
survival.
knows every street, and urban survival, and street people of the city. I'm giving you 4.
Okay.
Why? Because it'll be fun. I want you to succeed.
If I roll well.
Yes.
Give
me investigate.
Great success.
Great success.
Power 4.
Yep. So you technically get 4 clues, but I'm going to just roll this down into... No, you kind of get 4 clues.
Can I stash any of them? Like just to dig out later on in the story?
Stash one of them.
Okay.
For the price of 2.
Yeah.
But what you do here, because I'm just going to give you... You wouldn't know what to look for quite yet. I just need to... I've written this down. And you hear from one of the homeless people that is just... You're walking past, kind of rocking back and forth, saying, Puchati's got a 9-headed snake.
He just kind of drops down in a knee next to him. You know, he's got... I think he's probably like using some of the herbs for something that's like stress relieving. You know what I'm saying? Like just something to help the person relax. And he's like, tell me.
Puchati's got a 9-headed snake. Be aware. Be aware of the small bottles.
And then
it's in the small bottles.
He kind of like just touches his nose. You see some kind of strain, just like a droplet of something on that hand. Like it kind of reaches his nose. It doesn't disappear when he wipes it away. It just kind of smears. And then he starts to foam at the mouth. Veins turn black. He shakes a bit. And then he goes cold and quiet and gone. All before you have any time to step in.
David still does everything he can for a while. He's there until the paramedics show up. You know what I'm saying? Still doing CPR until the paramedics show up. But he also knows when it's a lost cause. You know what I'm saying? And when he passes the paramedics, it's like there's a moment where he's fully an ER surgeon again and just relaying it as, exact terminology, time of death, everything. And is pointedly gone before they can turn around.
Yeah. With that, your day kind of goes the same way that it was. That kind of happened
on the clue that I'd like to use, because that was the one. I just want the other one to... Is Spoon all right?
Spoon
managed to find him again?
Spoon is all right. You run into Spoon totally without any real issue. That's not the clue. You used you stashed one clue,
and that takes 2.
2, and I gave you 2 other clues based on...
okay.
I just gave those ones, right?
Okay.
Kind of 3. Anyways, we're not going to talk about what kind of means. But you run into Spoon. Is there anything you want to talk to Spoon about?
Just he's kind of gently trying to so what happened with the bridge? Where'd you you were with me, right?
We
We
had a
got these
bridge.
herbs together.
No, yeah, we got the herbs together, and then afterwards, you ran to the bridge, I think, and then I ran the other direction to make the security guard think twice. Besides, this city is set up the same way that it's supposed to be set up. So if we know the way the city's set up and they're not certain, and we can use these and we can use the maps we've got. And he pulls out one of those maps, and you recognize it as his map of Atlantis.
Yeah, and David's kind of like
Which
about to dismiss it, and then he's kind of like, let me see that.
you look at it and realize, and there's a hope, I believe, from you of maybe this map is accurate, but then you also remember Atlantis is not attached to this. It makes no sense for the city and Atlantis to be the same place. I mean, if Atlantis were to be anywhere, it'd be over there past the docks. And then you think that to yourself more closely and go, oh. Oh. And you hand him back. And Spoon goes, can I get that map back? Because you know the city's been built on top of Atlantis. It's coming to this area that you're kind of realizing if Atlantis does exist, it's a few hundred feet off the water.
David's just at a point where he's not really taking anything for granted. He's also very much trying to avoid having a conversation with the dragon in the mirror yet, even though the dragon seems very much to want to have a conversation with him.
Okay, well, you can keep that map. I'll keep my maps later. I've got one for El Dorado, too.
We're not
Eventually,
built
we
on El Dorado
find
too,
it.
are we?
We'll be rich.
Yeah, he'll kind of, he'll mention somebody to keep the El Dorado map away from down in the under trash who, steals everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just that's kind of what his day is for the next while. He's walking, he's listening, he's no longer dismissing in the way that he did before.
All right. You learn some things, and you learn some things that may not be useful, may be useful, but may not be, and also probably aren't. But you learn things. Like how Mrs. Humphrey's cat over at apartment 6B on 3rd Street. It's a mountain lion. That Mrs. Humphrey. Did I say Humphrey the first time?
Yeah, Mrs. Humphrey.
Yeah. Mrs. Humphrey stole it from the wild and is feeding sardines to keep small. So that may or may not be useful. Probably isn't.
Is it because they're small fish or sardines specific?
It's because they're small fish.
Okay. But like that's kind of the level of like
you heard that minnows work too.
Everything.
You've heard that minnows work too, but they're just more expensive. In reality, no, they're not.
Sardines come conveniently canned, so
yes, they all swim in the ocean in that little can, all packed in together. Lovely school right there. Anyways, with that, eventually you all live your life. You learn some things around the area, and eventually, a few days later, after just living your best life, you find yourselves all, once again, inexplicably, standing next to each other in front of the Moose Ridge Diner. For any reason, could be from after they had to reschedule because of important homicide stuff. So they weren't able to meet that day, and they had to meet the next day. You decided that the perfect second base scene could be filmed right behind the dumpsters of this area. Your test is coming up. You need to get some food, or you were just in the area and thought you'd pop in, say hi, and get something to eat at the same time, or anything from there to that to in between. You all stand in front of the Moose Ridge Diner. And
my character went here for brunch break.
then you're all there for brunch. Perfect. And it seems that you're all there again with newfound understanding, appreciation, and a hell of a lot of confusion. Getting ready for what may be coming to you next week. Yeah. I don't have anything else to say for that. Yes. So, yeah, that brings our City of Mist, the Storied City, to an end for this week. Thank you so much for watching with us. Thank you for being here with us. We ran a little over, but we started a little later, so it all works out, you know. Yeah. So, as we begin our goodbyes, I would like to say thank you to my wonderful players. Thank you to, I'm going to roll the dice to see who starts. Oh, wow. Siosa, thank you so much for bringing David, the person that seems most willing to accept this reality. Well, one of the most willing to accept this reality. Thank you to Rory for bringing us Jack, who also seems more or less willing to accept this reality and just kind of going, this seems interesting at the very least. Thank you to Reeve for allowing me to introduce a new NPC that I'm going to have to write a bunch of stuff for now.
That guy's going to be a problem for me, Andy.
Oh, he's going to be a problem for everyone. Anyways.
Good lord. If I just knew what that rune meant.
Thank you to Janet for bringing Nicole and immediately shooting at the problem. That was a fun thing to do.
True American cop right there.
Quite the American cop.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to be typical cop.
Thank you to Sarah Sands for bringing us Pandora. A lot more sex jokes are coming. We know, you know, everyone should know, and get ready just to, grin, bear it, and swallow. Anyways, thank you again to our phenomenal producer, Hellhounds. Like I said at the beginning, the show would not be possible without you. Thank you to chat. I saw a bunch of people in there at different times. It was wonderful to see you chatting and occasionally saying some fun things and occasionally not saying fun things and just watching and going, what the hell is this dude on about? And last but not least, thank you, yes, you, the viewer, whether you watched us live on the VOD here on Twitch or you came to see us on YouTube. If you watched with us on Twitch, be sure to give us a follow. We are here several days, nights a week. And if you follow us via YouTube, please give us a like, comment on what you liked, hit that subscribe button, and it may also help to ring that little bell so you know when we upload. We can be mysterious when we do. By mysterious, I mean we don't always know when we upload. And neither should you. Ooh! Anyways. Other than that, so long as I'm not missing anything, as we always say at Dirty 20 Gaming, be nice to each other. Please be nice to each other. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye for now. Stay safe. You're all so wonderful. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Night, y'all.